ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ସୁସ୍ୱାଗତ. I welcome everybody. Now we will start the second unit's second chapter. We have covered the constitutional values. We have also heard him on broadly the meanings of ethics, work ethics and the need for studying the subject at the 3-year degree course. So, let me repeat few things which have been made very clear to you so far. First of all, ethics basically means the science or the subject of right and wrong. Ethics means constantly in life we have to decide what is right and what is wrong, and deciding what is right and what is wrong is actually not that very easy. It is not very easy. It is very difficult indeed in most of the time. I will just give you one example. Now, suppose a person has murdered somebody, the case went into court and the judge has to decide. Now, the circumstances were very, very difficult. Now, the person who has murdered, he claims that he was attacked and he killed in self-defense. The police, the prosecutors are telling that that was not the case, he killed somebody for personal gain. He wanted to kill him because they were enemies earlier, he wanted his property or something like that, and or he was stealing from him. When this man resisted, he killed him, like that. Now, it is very difficult for the judge to decide whether actually it was a case in self-defense or it was actually a murder with the purpose of murder. Now, suppose the court comes to a decision that it was not in self-defense and he has killed and gives him a life sentence or a death sentence. Now, if suppose he has been given a death sentence, the executioner will hang him to death in the jail. Now, another murder takes place. Is it a murder? He has been hanged. तुम भावी देख जे एथिक्स कहिले मुख्यतः ठीक कौन भूल कौन रो विज्ञान एवं एटा एते सहज कथा नुह. जीवन रे अनेक समय रे आसे प्रश्न कोउटा ठीक कोउटा भूल. गोटे उदाहरण मु तुमको दउची जे जणे लोक मर्डर करिछि, कोर्ट रे कचेरी रे चलला मामला, से कहला आज्ञा मते से अटैक कले, मते से मारि दै थांते, तेणु मु सेल्फ डिफेंस रे तंग मारि देली, आत्मरक्षा पई तंग मारि देली. पुलिस कहला नाई नाई सेमती नहीं, से चोरी करने को जाइथिले एवं जे घर मालिक सी तांकू चोर को प्रिवेंट करने चेष्टा कले, आउ से धस्ताधस्ती है एवं तापर ये ता पकेट्रु गुली बाहर कर चलईदेला, गुली चलैक मारिदेला एवं कोर्ट कहला नाई तुम्हें मारिच एवं सेल्फ डिफेन्स मारिन, कारण से लोक पाखे बंदूक नथिला, तुम पाखे बंदूक था. से जहाँ न कहूँ जो फाँसी दंड है ताकू जड़े फाँसी दंड रे जड़े फाँसी कर. अच्छा, फाँसी करवा अर्थ तो फेर मर्डर है, फेर मर्डर है, अथच ये जो मर्डर करथिला से दंड पाइब एवं कोर्ट ऑर्डर रे जो फाँसी है, जो मृत्यु तार हम से सी तो किसी दंड पाइबनी. जड़े मनीष मारिबाटा भूल, जड़े मारिबा ठीक है, आउ जड़े मारिबाटा कहीं भूल हम. मनीष तो आम जीवन नबार अधिकार अच्छी कि कहार भी जीवन नबार अधिकार अच्छी कि ये जमी विषम संकट सेमती जीवन रे अनेक समय रे आसे जे ठीक कौन भूल कौन गभीर भाव रे विचार करके निर्दिष्ट करियो हुए. नाउ व्हेन द एग्जीक्यूशनर किल्स समबडी, executes somebody, is it not murder? It is also death. So, if it is murder, while the court can order that and the executioner has to carry out the order, he is carrying out the order, his killing is not punishable, but the criminal's killing is punishable. So, you understand how difficult it is always to decide what is right or what is wrong. I had also given you a beautiful example from John Stuart Mill that a bridge is broken, you are cycling, you are trying to cross the bridge and there is a barrier and it is written that the bridge before you is broken, so you are not allowed to go. You can say, I can go, I have a right to die. What is that to the state? Why should you prevent me from going? No, state has a right to protect your life. That is why it is going to prevent you, because protection of your life is also the responsibility of the state. Now, question is, what is right, what is wrong? ମୁଁ ତୁମକୁ ବହୁତ ଆଗରୁ ଉଦାହରଣ ଦେଇଥିଲି ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ପୋଲ ଭଙ୍ଗା ପୋଲ ଅଛି, ଆଉ ସେଠି ତାର ବନ୍ଧା ହେଇଯାଇଛି, ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି ପୋଲ ଭାଙ୍ଗି ଯାଇଛି, ଆଗକୁ କେହି ଯାଇପାରିବେନି। ତୁମେ ଜୋରରେ ସାଇକେଲ ନେଇକି ଆସୁଛ, ପଢ଼ିଲ ସାଇନ୍ ବୋର୍ଡ଼, ସେଠି ୱାଚମ୍ୟାନ୍ ଅଛି, ତା ସହିତ ଝଗଡ଼ା ହେବ, ଆରେ ଭାଇ ମୁଁ ସାଇକେଲରେ ଯିବି, ମୁଁ ମରିଲେ ମରିବି, ତୋର କ'ଣ ଯାଏ ସେ, ତୁ କାହିଁକି ଅଟକେଇବୁ ମୋତେ, କାହିଁକି ଏଠି ତାର ବାନ୍ଧିକି ଅଟକେଇକି ରଖିଛୁ? ତମର ଜୀବନ ରକ୍ଷା କରିବା ରାଜ୍ୟର ସରକାରଙ୍କର ଦାୟିତ୍ୱ। ତେଣୁ ତୁମେ ଚାହିଁଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ତୁମକୁ ଏଲାଉ କରାହେବନି, ପରମିଶନ୍ ଦିଆହେବନି ଯେ ସାଇକେଲରେ ଯାଇକି ତୁମ ଆଗରେ ଯାଇକି ମରିବ, ନା ହେଇପାରିବନି। ତାହେଲେ ଭୁଲ କ'ଣ ଠିକ୍ କ'ଣ? କଥାକେ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ଷ୍ଟେପ୍ରେ ଆମକୁ ଭୁଲ ଠିକ୍ ଡିସାଇଡ଼୍ କରିବାକୁ ହୁଏ। ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ହ୍ୱାଇ we have been discussing this so far in the both in the first unit, now in the second unit. First chapter we have dealt with constitutional values of India. Now we are going to deal with a much more important, equally important if not more important, patriotic values. देशात्म बोध भाव, मूल्यबोध, देशात्म बोध बा देशप्रीति मूल्यबोध. So that is a very important component. Now Professor Ashok Das has already introduced to you how it is all linked with the broad theme of the course. Broad theme of the course now in second unit is citizenship. The broad theme of the entire paper is good citizenship. The unit 2, or this is the second semester's paper, the second semester is devoted to good citizenship. Now all these are related to citizenship values, values of citizenship. What are citizenship? What is who is a citizen? Citizen is a person, maybe a male or a female, even a child. If you belong to a country, you are its legal member and you enjoy the rights which are there in the constitution of that country. In our case, Indian constitution, the fundamental rights. If you enjoy the fundamental rights, then you are a citizen of the country. This is a legal concept. But broadly speaking, anybody who is a member, a natural born or who has chosen to be born, who has chosen to be adapt to this country, he is a citizen. नागरिक कहले कौन? नागरिक कहले आमे बुझुचे जे गोटे देशर राष्ट्रर, देश तो कहले ठीक हेनी, राष्ट्रर, राष्ट्र कहले कौन? जार सार्वभौमत्व थी, जो लोक मैंने थे, जार गोटे भूखंड थी, जो गोटे सरकार थे, से सरकार एक्जिक्यूटिव लेजिस्लेटर जुडिशियरी थी इत्यादि कथा फिर मन पकड़े तुम जान मन पड़ज तुम। तेणु राष्ट्रर जो मैंने सभ्य से मान को सिटीजन कह जाए एवं से सिटीजन कौन करे ना से उपभोग करे मौलिक अधिकार, खाली मौलिक अधिकार नुह तार मध्य मौलिक दायित्व रही से विषय आम आगु आलोचना कर सारी आउ थे आलोचना कर आवश्यकता नहीं। एवं किए से नागरिक जे भोट दे पार, प्रथम कथा हूँ जे भोट दे पार एवं पिला माने मध्य तार सभ्य से भी नागरिक कारण बड़ हेले भोट देवे से एवं जड़े जन्मगत भाव में गोटे राष्ट्रर सभ्य हो पारे जमी आम मोटामोटी समस्ते, किंतु कहीं कहीं अन्य देश में जन्म होते तुम जानिच जड़े विशिष्ट संगीतज्ञ हाँ अंधन स्वामी ना कौन तक ना मोर मन पड़े अंधन स्वामी बोधे से पाकिस्तान सिटीजन थे, नागरिक थे, से निज इच्छा स्व इच्छा भारतर सभ्य होगापी चाहिए एवं भारत सरकार तांको सभ्य हिसाब से ग्रहण कर नागरिक सभ्य नागरिकता प्रदान कर से फिर अनेक आम देश लोक जाके देश में बसवास कर देशर नागरिक होती एवं अन्य देश में जन्म होता लोक मैंने आसिक आम देश में नागरिक होती से जाऊ ना कहीं जे जन्मगत भाव में हो बा एडप्शन द्वारा जी आमर नागरिक तार मूल्यबोध कौन हवा उचित, ये हूँ ब्रॉड थीम। जदि पूरा कलापटाटा को अनैब यही द्वितीय सेमेस्टर पाठर एथिक्स संबंधी से हूँ भल नागरिक किपरि हबा इज ऑल रिलेटिंग टू सिटीजनशिप. So in the first part we have discussed all the values as defined in our constitution. Mostly we have confined ourselves to preamble. Now let us come to in greater detail patriotism. Now how at the first point we have defined you how the entire chapter is structured. Now first is objective. I am not going discussing anything in particular presently. I am just familiarizing with you the object. ए पाठटा को केमती सजा होईची एवं मोर आसंता 3-4 क्लास किपरि सजा होईची से सज्जाकरणटा कौन ताको बुझाई दउची. मु प्रथमे हला ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, तापर हला उपक्रम इंट्रोडक्शन, तापर पैट्रियोटिज्म रे व्हाट वी विल कवर, देशात्मबोध भाव, origin, meaning and definition, types and features of patriotism, growth of patriotism in India, patriotic values and ingredients of nation building concept and prerequisites, role of patriotism in nation building, concept of good citizenship, emotional connection with the country, duties of citizens and qualities of good citizen, patriotism and the Indian constitution, fundamental rights and duties and citizens, qualities of good citizens and progress of the nation. Let us sum up keywords, check your learning, suggested readings. प्रथम हूँ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स माने एटा पढ़ले आम कौन जानवे एटा कहीं पढ़ा सेटा है प्रथम कथा. तापर है उपक्रम इंट्रोडक्शन बा उपक्रम, तापर पैट्रियोटिज्म देशात्मबोध भाव मूल्यबोध, से मूल्यबोधटा कौन, तार उत्पत्ति किपर होता, तार अर्थ किपर समय क्रम बदली बदली चलती एवं ताकर संज्ञा निरूपण केमती आम करवा, कौन तार संज्ञा रहिबो. तापरे भिन्न भिन्न प्रकार पैट्रियोटिज्म कथा आम कहवा. तापर कौन करवा ना भारतवर्ष रे ए देशात्मबोध भाव रो किपर विकास घटला से कथा अल्प कर आलोचना करवा, सामान्य इतिहास आलोचना करवा. तापरे जाति गठन पे, देश गठन पे आमर कौन दरकार, पैट्रियोटिज्मटा हूँ मुख्यतः तार देश गठन रे साहाय्य करवा, राज्य गठन रे साहाय्य करवा एवं भारतीय राज्य गठन रे कौन आम साहाय्य करिपरिबा, सेति कौन मूल्यबोध को आम सहित परिचित रहिबा एवं ताकू कार्य लगेबा, ताकू अभ्यास रे परिणत करवा, से कथा आलोचना करवा. नेशन बिल्डिंग को लेकर कथा आलोचना करवा. तापरे भल सिटीजनशिप कहले कौन बुझा जाए से कथा टिके आलोचना करवा. तापरे किपरि इमोशनल कनेक्शन आवेग भाव रे, आवेगपूर्ण भाव रे देश सहित केमती आम जोड़ी हबा से कथा मध्य टिके आलोचना करवा. तापरे सिटीजन्स मानकर कौन कौन सब दायित्व रही, विशेष करके भारतीय संस्पर्श रे, भारत संस्पर्श रे आसिला बेलू आम भारतीय भाव में आमर कौन कौन सब दायित्व रही, भारतीय संविधान अनुसार फंडामेंटल मौलिक अधिकार कौन, मौलिक दायित्व कौन से कथा आलोचना करवा एवं देशर उन्नति पे आम कौन कर सेटा. तापरे ए मोटामोटी भाव में सबजाक मिसेकरी समाप्त करवा बा तार गोटे संक्षिप्त भाव में तार सारांश कथा आलोचना करवा. तापर कौन कौन गुरुत्वपूर्ण शब्द आम व्यवहार करुचे एवं से शब्दर संज्ञा गुड़िक कौन से गुड़ाक टे जाणीजा. आपर प्रश्न रही केत गोटे प्रश्न रही से गुड़ाक तुम पढ़ जान तार उत्तर लिखापी चेष्टा कर भविष्य में आगू कौन पढ़ले विषय अधिक जापर से कथा आम कहीपर. पिला माने मन रख, आउ थे मुझे तुमको कहूँ आग बहीटा पढ़. प्लीज रीड द टेक्स्ट फर्स्ट, देन स्टार्ट अटेंडिंग दिस वीडियो लेक्चर्स. If you don't read the book, these video lectures will not be sufficient. These video lectures are only supplementing the text. जहाँ बही रे लिखा है जहाँकि आम ओडिशा सरकार वेबसाइट रे उपलब्ध अच्छी, DDCE उत्कल यूनिवर्सिटी वेबसाइट रू लिंक पाइपर एवं अनेक यूनिवर्सिटी वेबसाइट रू भी तुम लिंक पाइपर. से दुईटा कथा अच्छी, जहाँ वीडियो लेक्चर सब रही एवं बहीटा भी रही. बहीटा छपा होकरी टेक्स्ट बुक भी बिकब. बही जदि किणले तो भल कथा, न किणले तुम्हें कॉलेज लाइब्रेरी जदि पाइल पढ़ा कथा भल कथा. जदि न पाइल न पढ़ी पार सेठू बही कार ताल निश्चित भाव में वेबसाइट को जाइए निश्चित भाव में बहीटी को पढ़ एवं ए क्लास टी को अटेंड कर. दुईटा कथा कले जाइकी पाठटा तुमर निजर हम एवं तापर ता विषय गभीर मनन करिवो चिंतन करिवो सांगसाथी सहित आलोचना करिवो शिक्षक मान सहित आलोचना करिवो एवं एगुड़ाक अति साधारण कथा घरे मध्य भाई भौणी बापा माँ अन्य मान सहित मध्य अनेक समय यहाँ आलोचना तुम्हें करिपारिवो ए सब कले तुमर निजर बुझामणा अति गभीर हब एवं तुम पई काम लागिवो देश दशर उन्नति पई यह सहायक हब। तो लेट अस नाउ कम टू the objectives. Good citizens are the backbone of a nation. Good citizens are the backbone of a nation. Love for the nation is patriotism, and patriotic values create some of the good citizenship. Good citizens helps in nation building. This lesson is about ideas of patriotism and nation building. After going through this chapter, you should be able to understand the basics of patriotism, comprehend the patriotic values embedded in Indian culture and ethos, and then grasp the concepts of rights and duties and good citizenship, and imbibe those for nation building. Now let me explain to you this very shortly. Basically, we have said what are the Indian constitutional values. Let me not repeat that. We have read it in great detail in the last 4-5 classes. Now, what is patriotism? Patriotism is, first of all, in the simplistic term, it is my love for my country. Second thing is that we don't stop there. We go forward. How do we go forward? We, when required, are prepared to sacrifice for the country. We are prepared to sacrifice for the country. And we are prepared to build the nation. If I just say I love you, I love India, I put on a love you sign, I put in the Indian map, or I make a say a sort of, how I sort of with the national flag, or shout at the top of my voice, India, 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 not only in a cricket match but elsewhere also. Do I create India? Do I build India? Suppose I throw the dust from my home right in front of my home. I throw it there. And suppose there is I know that a WhatsApp message is spreading to spread communal disarmament. I don't do anything. I don't inform the police. Am I building the nation? No, I am not building the nation. I am working in a company, say I am making pencils. I make bad pencils. I don't do good work and I don't produce good pencils. I want to cheat the buyers. What will happen? The pencil will go to other countries and people will say, no, we will not buy Indian pencils. They are bad. They are not good quality. Or we cheat the Indians also, because many pencils will be bought by our friends, and somebody has taken one pencil to the examination hall, and because the pencil is not working, he is failing in the examination. Am I building the nation? No. I may say that I love my country, but the work that I do goes against the country. So the values that we spoke of in the first chapter can only be translated into reality through what we are going to discuss today by a deep sense of patriotism. जदि मु सकाळु संजे खाली क्रिकेट पड़ियारे नुह सबुठी भारत जिंदाबाद बोली पार्टी करी एवं मो घर सामने मो अड़ा पकाउथि मु फैक्ट्री काम करुच्ची पेंसिल फैक्ट्री काम करुच्ची एमतिया पेंसिल तैयारी करुच्ची सेगुड़ा भांगी जीवो मु मो ऑफिस रे मो काम करूनी मु झाड़ूदार अच्छी मु स्कूल रे झाड़ूदार अच्छी मु स्कूल को झाड़ू करू नहीं मु स्कूल रे हेडमास्टर अच्छी मु समय रे क्लास को आसू नहीं स्कूल को भी आसू नहीं मु आउ कोठी रही कि आउ गोटे स्कूल रो दरमा नउची मु देशभक्त किंतु मु कहूची भारत माता की जय जातीय पताकार सार्ट करके पिंधिची बा ट्राई कलर रो केक किणिकी अगस्ट 15 दिन खाऊची कौन ना मु देशभक्त आदौ देशभक्त नुह तेणु देशभक्ति टा किपरि अभ्यास रे परिणत करने को कार्य केमती लगे हम जदि ताको आमे कार्य लगेवा ताहले जहाँ यूनिट 1 रे पढ़ी थिले जे भारतीय संविधान रे थिबा मूल्यबोध गुडी को आमे अभ्यास रे परिणत करि परिबा कार्य रे लगै परिबा एवं से मूल्यबोध द्वारा जहाँ आमर लाभ हो बोली आम भाविचे हित हो बोली भाविचे से हित हो पार तेणु देशात्मबोध कथाटा को आमको भल भाव बुझी रख यही चैप्टर पढ़िले आम वी विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट वी विल अंडरस्टैंड द बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पैट्रियटिज्म एंड नॉट ओनली इन द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वी विल गो बियॉन्ड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वैल्यूज बियॉन्ड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन व्हाट इज देयर इन आवर कल्चर what is there in our history, what is there in our national values, we have to also understand those things, cultural traits of India. We have to go beyond the constitution, we have to grasp the concept and duties. What are our duties? That we will also able to understand. Unless we understand these duties, unless we discharge these duties, unless we understand the basic concept of patriotism, unless we comprehend the patriotic values enshrined beyond constitution in our culture and ethos, we cannot do justice to good citizenship. आमे यही चैप्टर एइथमै पढुचे जे आमे भल रूप रे देशात्मबोध कहले कौन बुझिबा भल रूप रे बुझिबा द्वितीय कथा होची आमे भारतीय संविधान व्यतिरेके भारतीय संविधान टे आगू को जाइकी आम संस्कृति रे आम संस्कार रे भारतीय संस्कृति एवं भारतीय संस्कार रे देशात्मबोध भाव किपरि अंतर्निहित होइकी रहिछि किपरि जड़ाजड़ी होइकी रहिछि ताकू टिके बुझिबा ताले कोन हबो आमर संस्कृति आमर संस्कार को आमे पालन करि परिबा एवं ताकू आकू नै परिबा सभा शेष रे आमे जदि गोटे भल नागरिक होबा मु आगुरु जाको कहिछि सिविल सोसाइटी बा सभ्य समाज आज ताकू मध्य कई कई कहउचंती सिटीजनरी बा नागरिक सभ्य नागरिक समाज जो समाज रे समस्त नागरिक एवं नागरिकर दायित्व जो माने पालुचंती तांकू नेकरी आमे कहउचे सिटीजनरी और नागरिक समाज नागरिक मानकर समाज सो इफ वी अंडरस्टैंड दीज थिंग्स देन वी कैन really achieve the goals that we have set before us, that is of becoming a good citizen, a great citizen, and that is how we can build our nation. Okay. So, this is with these objectives. Now, we move forward to slightly, we have already introduced the subject, Professor Ashok Das has also introduced the subject very nicely to you in the previous class, but we will further repeat it partly and expand it partly. So, let us understand why we need to understand the question of love for our country and patriotism. Now, Professor Das was telling you the other day that man lived initially in the jungles, the entire world was a jungle kind of thing only, and he was a food gatherer and a hunter. When he was a food gatherer and a hunter, he had some ethics. He had some ethics, and then gradually he settled down. Once he settled down, built houses, built great civilizations like in India, the Indus Valley civilization, the Aryan civilization, the Dravidian civilization, so on and so forth. Now, ethics also grew with it. Now, when the modern concept of state has come, I am not going into the entire history of mankind or entire history of India, but when the modern state comes in, nation state comes in, that is say from independence onward. It comes a little before that, it also comes before that, but let us not get into details of history. But once a modern concept of state has arrived, and what is a modern concept of state? Let me again repeat that it has a people who feel emotionally bonded together. They feel that we are Indians. This is the primary condition. Even for patriotism, they feel that we are Indians, the emotional bond between amongst the people, that is one thing, people. Second is the land, that is on three sides are the Indian Ocean, on the top is the Himalayas mountain, and other things we have a well defined territory. Notwithstanding little disturbance time and again between India and China. With Bangladesh we have completely settled the border. Same with Pakistan, we have settled border with Pakistan, but there is still conflict between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. But notwithstanding all these conflicts, little conflicts, we know we have a well defined territory. That is the second. That means we have a responsibility of defending that territory. That means we have a responsibility of maintaining that bond, that feeling that we are Indians. Do you understand? Nothing is a legal concept merely. Everything is much more than legal. It is related with our lives. You have to live it, just not understand and write in examination papers. So, first principle is the feeling, the people. Second principle is land. Land demands that we defend it. The third principle is that there is a government, executive, legislature, judiciary. Here also your duties come in, because there is a legislature, you must vote in the election, elect your representatives. From that representative, prime minister, chief ministers, etc. will be made. We have a government has to implement the laws of the land. There has to be a judiciary. So, all these things in which we are also involved. We are also, if the parliament makes laws, you are bound to obey it, you must obey it, you must be a law abiding citizen. So, this is a modern state, and then there is sovereignty, sovereignty of the country. We cannot be controlled from outside, we must follow our own independent policies, both internally and externally. So, these four things, now these four things bring in the modern concept of state or nation state still better. We call it a nation state. So, that is what is. Now, once a nation state has evolved, ethics of a nation state has also evolved. The ethics or what was right and wrong when we were living in the jungle, and now when we are living in a modern state, there is lot of difference. Sometimes we say, is there jungle raj in this country? What do you mean by jungle raj? By jungle raj, we say that the strong enjoy whatever they can and weak suffer whatever they must. Try to understand this sentence. The strong enjoy whatever they can and weak suffer whatever they must. Why this happens? Because there is no rule. There is no rule of law. If there is rule of law, then everybody is equal before law. The strong cannot exploit the weak. Kautilya's, in Kautilya's Arthashastra, it is called Machyanaya. When there is no state, when there is no rule of law, the bigger fishes eats away the smaller fishes. That is called Machyanaya in Kautilya's Arthashastra. So, do you want that Machyanaya to exist? So, that is kind of Machyanaya or jungle rule existed early phase. Now, that cannot be the case. We are in a modern state. So, that is how ethics in ancient period, very ancient period, ethics subsequently and ethics today has changed, and we are concerned with today's ethics. We are concerned with today's ethics. So, originally that is how ethics comes in, because we live in a group. If you are alone, then possibly you do not require any rule. Suppose you are playing a football alone, nobody else is playing with you. Do you require rules and regulation? If you require, you can make the rules and regulation, because you are playing alone. But suppose there are 10 people on this side and that side, 11 people on this side and that side are playing football, then you require rules of the game. Same thing, if you live alone, you may not require laws, but once you live in a group, once you are playing a game with 2 teams or sometime more, then you require rules. That is why it is very important for us to understand that ethics changes in course of time. Ethics changes in course of time. That is very important. Originally, the word ethic referred to a man who loved his motherland and try to further its interest and well-being. In India, we call India our motherland. There are many countries where they call it fatherland. There is a historical reason for some people calling fatherland, some people calling it motherland. In some myths, ancient myths, earth is considered to be the mother and sky is considered to be the father. So, because we are living on the earth, those people call it their motherland. There are some countries where they consider that the earth is the father and sky is the mother. And in that case, when the earth is considered to be the father, they call it fatherland. But both the things mean the same thing. Whether you call it a fatherland or a motherland makes little difference. In Germany, at a particular historical period, they called it fatherland. In some Japanese also, people called it fatherland for some time. Whether you call it fatherland or motherland, without a father and mother, you will not be here, I will not be here. So, that is why whatever you call it, whether you call it fatherland or motherland, it means the same thing as far as we are concerned. So, patriot referred to, I have already told you how the original state was a city state. Even in India, Shodasa Janapada. So, country like this today had not emerged. They were small cities were considered to be states, Janapadas in India and city states in Greece. And in those places, it was the city which was considered to be the motherland or the fatherland. And a patriot referred to a person who loves his place of birth, who loves his where he lives, that is his country or today a modern state. Nation building is the process whereby a community of people with diverse background come together within the boundaries of a sovereign state. Think of India. Professor Das told you how many languages we have, how many provinces we have, how many religions we practice. I have been time and again telling you that India is unity in diversity. What is that unity? That unity is that we are India. We are Indians, notwithstanding the different religions, the different places, the different languages, the different scripts and so many other diversities. Within that religion also there is a lot of diversity. In spite of all that diversity, what binds us together? That binds us together is patriotism, that we are Indians, that is what binds us. So, that is why we must understand this unity in diversity and how we continue to identify ourselves as Indians, how we continue to live together as Indians, and that is impossible without patriotism. The emotional attachment with the country and nation building are important. Without this emotional bond with the country, we cannot create a great India. We cannot create a great India. We can only create a great India. We can create a better India, if not great, at least a better India. We can create a better India. How? Only if we have inculcated, believed and worked out patriotism. So, these are the things, that is how there is a need for understanding and need for studying patriotism as a concept and how does it support the dream of our India. Thank you. We will meet again in the next class.